Commander Ali.
Good morning, Supervisors. I'm Mikael Ali. I'm the current coordinator of the Police Department's Crisis Intervention Team. Just kind of want to give you an overview of what has taken place since I've taken charge of this effort in September of last year. Since that time, we have had 3 classes where we trained not only San Francisco police officers, but officers from other agencies. In total, we have trained 118 San Francisco police officers. That would be 3 lieutenants, 13 sergeants, and 103 patrol officers. Those officers are equally dispersed in the patrol force, both
they want to call the sheriff, and I'd rather not have it.
No, I don't
Our rule does not be able to stand and they get right here unless that's part of the press and give a press area there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You go ahead and use
I
that.
have done it because I can't video you guys from your heads, so I'll just sit down.
Okay. The directive is clear to C.I.T officers. Their primary responsibility is to respond to incidents where individuals are in crisis. And effectively, a person in crisis can be any and every one of us, not just someone who has a mental health background. The idea, simply put, as the chief pointed out, we started this process in terms of giving the clear direction to the department back in May of 2011, when the chief issued a bulletin basically just telling everyone to slow down. There's no need to create an exigency if one does not exist. So if you're dealing with a person in crisis and they only present a threat to themselves, we have all the time in the world. We're going to utilize that in order to mitigate whatever crisis there may be. With that said, as the chief has pointed out, I think we've had tremendous success in just getting our processes to slow down as we do this level of engagement. But at the same time, there are instances where words simply do not work. When the behavior, and I think it's incredibly important, in the spirit of cultural competency and language challenges, that what we're talking about is the behavior that manifests in individuals who are in crisis. Our officers are trained that when the behavior is such that they only constitute a threat to themselves, take the time, try to do everything we can to connect with them. I'll share a story of a young Marine who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. He'd been involved in a minor traffic collision. To you and I, this is not a major incident, but to this person, it triggered something. He rear-ended the vehicle and suddenly jumped up and ran off into the forest. This did not happen in San Francisco. This happened in Oregon. The troopers responded the next day. That day, went for searching for this individual, couldn't find him. He was really far off into the woods, some 5 miles or so. During the course of that investigation, they determined who the individual was. They contacted the family, determined that this person suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, and as a result of minor conflict, would simply run away. The next day, the troopers went off on a snowmobile, made contact with the person, and the engagement was simple this. The trooper himself, being a former Marine, contacted the person, identified it by his name, and said simplify whatsoever. And that kind of thinking, that kind of slowing down, immediately made a connection and there was no issues whatsoever. Unfortunately, that same individual had lengthy issues of conflicts with law enforcement. But by slowing down and making this kind of contact, connecting with the person, which we're teaching our folks how to connect. My name is Mikael. I'm not Commander Ali when I'm having this level of contact with the person in crisis. And as a result, that right there disarms in many instances and allows us to engage. So this level of training is taking place. We're doing it in connection with a multitude of different agencies, both public and private in San Francisco. We're currently going to have 4 additional trainings this coming year. We're also having discussions with the University of San Francisco to model what's taking place in Memphis with the Memphis Police Department and the University of Memphis. I'll stop right there because I think perhaps it's probably a good time to answer some questions.